Hello everyone, and welcome to the review of the DYU D3F bike, e-bike. Actually, this is more of a micro mobility e-bike because this is super compact. It's very light, although it houses a pretty good battery and motor, and this will make you ride very good mileage even for its tiny size, but you are going to do that in much more comfort than you can do on an electric scooter. So I'm going to jump right to the technical details. So you get a fully legal 250 watt rear motor built into the hub. You get a lithium ion battery that is housed in the frame. It has 10 amp hour capacity, 36 volts, and that should give you probably something about 30 real electric kilometers approximately. It has 40-inch wheels. It has dual disc brakes, and the disc brakes are huge for this bike. They are 160 millimeters, which is impressive. You get a front LED headlamp that you can manually turn on, and you get a battery operated rear light here. There's no suspension on the bike, but you get a huge seat, and the seat has really big springs, so this makes it very comfortable. Last but not least, if you are out of battery or you want to do some exercise or whatever, you can power it off and use it as a normal bike, of course with the added weight of the battery of the motor, so it's not going to run very easy with no power, but you have that option also, so it runs without power. If that's needed to be done, it's possible. To make the bike even more compact, you can always fold the stem here, the handlebar stem, and this will go like that, and the bike gets even smaller. And of course you can also either push in the seat or take it out completely, and the bike remains even smaller than it is. And if that's not all for you, then you can also fold the pedals and make it even more compact. Another nice addition are the included mudguards. You get them in the box. You need to install them yourself, but that's very easy because you get the screws, you get everything. And they are pretty good because they are long enough, so they are not only for show off, they are going to stop most of the dirt, because this covers most of the wheels, so it will not cover you in all the dirt that the wheel is going to throw. Same for the front one, pretty decent length, so it will protect the bike and your pants for getting splashed out. And now I'm going to show you another thing that I like very much, and all the bike producers should learn from this brand. A simple yet very nice touch to the bike. So the cables go through the stem here, they are not hanging in front of the bike, and beside going through the stem and then back into the frame, so very nice, very humane design with no wires dangling out. They have used these rubber inserts everywhere, so you have a rubber insert here, you have another one and another one here, so these are going to protect the cables, because I've seen bikes, e-bikes, with holes into the frame and the cable come out to that hole, and they are not protected by anything. So when the cable moves, it rubs on the metal part there, and in time it really cuts the wires, which is actually dangerous on an e-bike where you have a lithium battery. Alright, so it's now time to ride it to see how this thing actually performs. As for reference, I have about 90 kilograms. The backpack has about 2 to 3 kilograms today, so you get the idea. If the bike is too fast or too slow, take into account that, so you are going to know how this will ride with you. Right, so I'm going to start it up from the button here. You get a kind of animation here that it numbers all the LEDs. You start with 1, 2, 3, 4, and now it's ready to ride. You can start from standstill, no assistance, and off we go from the throttle accelerator. The bike performs actually really well. It has kind of a soft start. It doesn't have that kick, that electric kick that you get on smaller bikes because of the smaller wheels, but it picks up in speed rather fast. Yet this doesn't have any kind of display, so you don't know what speed you are going to do with it, but this will do a bit over 25 kilometers per hour. Actually it does 25, but when the battery is full you're going to get something like 26, maybe 27 kilometers per hour, and that will slowly decrease as the battery voltage decreases. Another thing that you are going to notice right away, the motor makes almost no sound on this bike. So this probably is not a geared motor, it's probably a direct drive half motor, but I don't know that for sure. The idea is that this one is super silent in comparison with all the other small bikes that I have tested, and those have had geared motors, and you can hear a constant whining noise of the internal gears of the motor. This one is completely silent, it doesn't do any kind of other odd noises, gear noises or weird sounds. Because this is small, yeah, it's also very maneuverable, it's very light, but it's also stable in some kind of way. It's not like you are on a circus trying to keep your balance. This rides pretty well, although I do have a complaint here. The seat post is very short. I'm not a very tall person, but this seat post is too short even for me, so it does impact somehow the ride, as if you want to pedal, your knees are going to be way too high for actually pedaling, so it's not too comfortable to do it like this. But if you ride this as a normal scooter with just the accelerator and you are resting your legs onto the pedals, then there's not such an issue, because you are going to be very low, with low center of gravity, very stable, very pleasant, and you can always put your feet down when you stop, so that makes it even safer when you ride this in traffic, as you can go very well on various roads, and if something's happened and you want to brake very fast, you have both brakes and you can put your feet down to completely stop. The bike, as I've told you, it's super stable and it's very easy to maneuver. Even with these tiny wheels, it kind of self-centers itself. And now the features, you also have cruise control on this, which is a really nice extra. So you choose the speed that you want and just give it here a push, and now the bike will keep the speed that you have selected from the cruise control. So any speed that you want, from minimum to maximum, you're just going to reach the speed, push the button, and the bike does its job, keeps the speed constant. So you ride it really nice. The brakes are super impressive because you can stop right away. So they are mechanical, simple disc brakes with single-sided action on the disc, but being such a small bike with such small wheels and huge 160 millimeter disc, you can really lock up both wheels while you ride if the brakes are properly adjusted. So you should actually take care with that, not to lock the front wheel, as the bike is very small, you can flip out, so you don't want to do that. So the brakes are very good, are oversized for this small bike. The bike doesn't have any kind of suspension, only the seat post has some suspension, but it rides pretty decent on rough terrain. There is a bit of noise coming from the box inside, might be a loose plug or the controller jumping a bit. That's easy to solve, probably needs a zip tie somewhere. Nonetheless, with the 14-inch wheels, you can't expect too much comfort and no suspension. But if you need to cross a bit of terrain, it's definitely a lot more better than for instance riding a Xiaomi M365 scooter with no suspension and 8.5-inch wheels. So that's horrible on this kind of terrain. Well, this one can go through that and it will not break your kidney stones, so pretty decent. And the seat with the springs really makes a huge difference. you really feel the springs that are actioning. They are not there just for design. They are pretty soft, and you can feel the seat post moving under your behind, and it's protecting it from being abused by the bike. And now the torture test. This is a very steep hill on which most 250 watt scooter cannot go uphill without assistance. So here regular Xiaomi M365 scooter will not make it up there. Only e-bikes with geared motors have barely made it up. So let's see if this is going to do it uphill. So I'm using full throttle now. I'm barely stopped, but this still goes a bit. So let's see if it's going to do it. No, it's not going to do it. I need to give it a bit of pedaling to go uphill. So the power is there. It barely made it uphill, but it needs a bit of assistance to do it. Going downhill, of course, is very easy.
So test ride is over, and now it's time for some conclusions. You have seen how the bike rides, and I'm really impressed about it because it's very small, very compact,
something like 40 kilometers per hour, and it's super stable.
And being so light, so easy to ride. It has this nice handle here, so you can take it with you. It's kind of the perfect city commute bike if you have short distances to do, go to the office, go to the subway or something like that. You have no problem with this. You ride in style, you ride very easy. It's very pleasant to drive, it's very safe, it has super good brakes, it cuts everything. So actually I don't have a lot of cons about this bike. There is a single con, okay, two cons. So the first one, you already know it, because the seat post is too short. So if you are a tall person, you will going to have some problems, but you can buy a longer seat post and replace the one included, or get a proper one. You have enough space to install a longer one, so if you put that, it's going to be a lot better. Then the second con comes into part. There's no adjustable handlebar, so if the seat post is going to be very high, you are going to have maybe a problem, because you are going to be a bit too lean forward. But if you just need about 10 centimeters here, you are not going to have a problem with the handlebar. So that's the single con, the big con that I have on this. Other from that, there's a small another one thing that I don't like. There's no speed indicator. You can buy a bike speed indicator or a GPS speed indicator to know the speed if you really need to know the speed. Otherwise you don't need it, you don't use it, so that's just an optional thing. But I would have loved to see the speed that I'm doing. So as a final conclusion, yes, I definitely like this bike, and this is a much better alternative to any kind of small electric kick scooter, and it's a lot more safe, and it's more road legal in some countries, as it's not as
scooter, classified as scooter. This is classified as an e-bike, as it has pedals, it has assisted mode, although the throttle might not be legal in some countries. Yet for Europe you might get away with this in almost any country, and the motor is pretty good. It only has 250 watts. It's a hub motor with direct drive, no gear, so this is very silent and outputs enough power to get you to your destination. Only if you have very high hills and very steep hills, then you might need to help the motor a bit with the pedals, but you are going to get through that very easily. So that was it for now. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Be sure to follow my next uploads, and until then, see you and bye bye.